Hi everybody. Haven't made a film for a couple of weeks. I thought it's about time I caught you up on what's going on in the garden. So we're going to do a little tour of the annual veg in a minute and just show you where things are at. But first of all, I'm going to plant my first tomato plant out in the greenhouse just to show you how that's done. So when I'm planting tomatoes are very hungry. They appreciate a lot of food, and so I dig a hole for them and then I put into the hole some farmyard manure. So this is some old stuff that I had left from last year. I'm just going to basically fill up this little hole with about 3 handfuls of this manure like that. So that's a good lot of feed there, which will keep the tomato going for a good long time. Then I'm going to pull the soil that I've dug out of the hole back over the top so it makes like a mound like that, and that's where I'm going to plant the tomato. So this is a yellow beefsteak heritage tomato that I grew from my saved seed, and you can grow them outdoors as well, but all tomatoes really do better with some protection. You'll get more fruit and earlier fruit, and they tend to be less susceptible to getting blight late in the season if they're in the greenhouse. So this one's going in here, but it's a cordon tomato, and that means what I'm going to do as it grows is I'm going to pinch out the side shoots, and I'll show you that on a future video. But it means it's going to grow upwards. One single stem is going to grow upwards, and off that are going to come the fruiting trusses. So it needs some support. So as I'm going to make a hole in here now. Let's break up that big, get rid of that big lump of clay to put this into, but underneath where the plant's going to go, I'm going to put a nice long length of twine, sort of slightly twirled round in the bottom there so it doesn't come out. And then I'm going to put the tomato plant on top. Oh look, perfect, look at that, it's just, the roots are just coming through the bottom of the pot. That's absolute perfect timing. It hasn't started going round and round and getting pot bound, and all those roots are really ready just to reach out into new fresh soil. So whoopsie daisy, there we go. So the tomato is going to go in there. Now if your tomatoes are a bit leggy, as I showed you in a previous video, you can at this point bury the stem a little bit into the soil, and that stem will send out roots and actually give your tomato more support. But this one wasn't leggy, so that's going in about soil height, but you don't have to worry with tomatoes too much about that. And that's it, there it is. And then as it starts to grow and needs some support, I'm just going to take this string and I will tie it up here, the roof of the greenhouse, and then I will tie the tomato into the string as it grows. So then that obviously needs a good water, which I'll do in a minute. Get my muddy knees. So then we'll just have a little look around at what's going on really. So had a bit of a sort out yesterday because the greenhouse was overflowing with seedlings, but basically what you can see in here are either the plants that are going to stay in here, so we've got basils and we've got some of the tomatoes will stay inside, and the peppers, or some things that are still very little, like we've got some lettuce seedlings here, some celeriac here, so they're still tiny, so I'm keeping them in here. And some of the squashes and cucumbers aren't quite big enough yet. But a lot of the seedlings have now moved outside of the greenhouse into this area here. So we've got like a makeshift little spot here to put things to harden off. So some of these things will be going in and out, so outside during the day and inside at night. Although with the warm temperatures we've got at the moment, it isn't always necessary to bring them back into the greenhouse. Most of these things are going to go up to the allotment and be planted up there, and some of them will go out in the garden. Okay, so we're just going to have a look at the outdoor beds in the garden so you can see what's going on. So these are the peas, these are the purple podded peas that I put out a few weeks ago. And as you can see, they're growing really strongly, and most of them are clinging now with their little tendrils onto the supports, and they're just going to carry on up here and really bulk out. This will be very big. Underneath them I've got these lettuces, which at the moment are appreciating the light. They will get quite shaded, some of them, but actually once we're getting into midsummer, shade is generally quite a good thing for your leafy vegetables. So that's what's going on here. We've had a bit of slug damage in that wet weather we had, but they're all okay. They're going to make a recovery. Then over on this side of the bed, we've got some Mizuna, which is growing quite strongly. Bit of flea beetle damage, which is the tiny little holes you can see. Flea beetles like all of the brassica family, but that's just aesthetic and it doesn't make any difference to the flavour. So we're still eating from that. And then this is the true spinach that I planted a couple of weeks ago, which is coming up in here, slowly coming along. And then behind me, which they haven't germinated yet, so there's nothing to see. I've sown some mixed salad greens outside, because the salad in the greenhouse will be coming out. The very first thing that I sowed this year will be coming out this week to make room for more tomatoes. Okay, in the second outdoor bed, it's full now. So on this side we've got the sugar snap peas, which you can see are quite a lot smaller than the other peas, but that's because they're a smaller variety. They're not going to get as tall, but they're all growing strongly now. And then on these frames we've got climbing French beans, which are starting to curl their way up the supports, good strong supports. And then yesterday I've put in here rainbow chard seedlings. Now they're close together and there's a lot of them, because I had lots this year, but I'll do the same with them that I would do with the salad in the greenhouse, which is as they grow I will take some of them out and eat them whole, and that will thin them out enough so that they can then be there for the whole of the season. And then just all the way along the front of this bed are lots and lots of self-sown nasturtiums, which will spill out and also contribute to our salad greens and beautiful flowers that we can also eat over the course of the summer. And then there's just one more annual veg to show you. So the last thing I just wanted to show you is this area here. This is a new piece of the forest garden, which I'll talk about in another video. But it's planted with strawberries, black currants and some perennial onions. But because it's new, there's a lot of space in it. And so what I've done is I've taken some of the broad beans that didn't fit at the allotment and I've put them into this bed where they're growing perfectly happily. So just a tip to say that you don't have to put your veg in veg beds. You can put it anywhere where you've got space in the garden. And a lot of vegetables, particularly things like chards and beans and spinach, leafy things, look really nice in amongst your flowers and whatnot. So I think that's most of what's going on in the annual veg garden, and I hope all your gardens are also growing and that you've got things out and that they're not getting eaten by slugs and that you're enjoying gardening at this time.